Dragons. Balls. I like balls. Wait. Hi, I'm Jason, and I don't like balls. But video games are pretty fucking cool, especially those with grown men screaming their asses off. Yeah, I was pretty young when my Dragon Ball addiction started, and it didn't even start with the show, it started with the video games. Man, those were fun as a kid. Not so much. Even if they were sometimes complete shit, they got me into one of my favorite TV shows. Well, anime, but I don't watch a ton of that. Yeah, not all Dragon Ball fans are big into anime. Personally, I've only watched a few in my life, and my favorite isn't even about epic fighting. I view Dragon Ball as more of an actual TV show, as it's been Americanized to hell and back. Along with that, its influence has stretched across the globe, even past the generational divide. Except for me, I didn't start watching the show in full until high school. I actually started watching the abridged series first, as it's a whole lot faster, and a whole lot stupider.
We are so going to die!
Now, slap him.
Ow!
Thank you.
What I'm trying to say is that Dragon Ball is wholly important to me, as it is to many others on the internet. But I had the strangest thought one day. When I was getting into Dragon Ball, I was trying to pry every single bit of info from the internet as I could. I had decades of anime to catch up on, but I ran into a video series by ProJared before the drama. It was his Dragon Ball Z video game retrospective. I loved how much info was pushed into it and all of the extra Dragon Ball games I hadn't known about to that point, like all of the RPGs. After that, I started to watch his other stuff, and I'd say you could check him out. No matter the drama, his older stuff is pretty good. Anyway, the one thing I think his retrospective lacked was the insurmountable universe of Dragon Ball. He was able to mash all of the Z games into 4 parts, but he didn't include its parent anime, Dragon Ball GT, its atrocious but hilarious sequel.
Goten, just a second, huh? Notice anything different, huh?
Or its reawakening, Super, which didn't exist at the time, and there are currently no games for it. Bandai has to start using that name for games. It seems like it should have been called Z2 instead. It's probably just for brand recognition, but come on, we've seen the Z sagas for years. What about the Super sagas? But that discussion will have to come much later. Back on track, ProJared had to include everything, so guess what we're gonna do? We're doing them. All of them. I'm gonna review every Dragon Ball game I can get my hands on.
What are you, insane? Yes.
Now we can't review every single Dragon Ball game, as many of them are lost to time, aren't actual video games, or just can't be put into one video. As some of them can't be covered, I'll address them in an ending video where we'll wrap things up. Until then, we've got a little fuck ton of Dragon Ball games to play, so without further ado, let's jump into the first ever Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Dragon Daihikyou, or Dragon Ball Dragon's Great Exploration. This is a Super Cassette Vision, created by Epoch in 1984 on July 17th. It only had 30 games released for it, so you can probably tell it flopped pretty bad. Not as bad as the Virtual Boy, doubling its North American games and having 11 more than the Virtual Boy's Japanese library. But this isn't a Super Cassette Vision versus Virtual Boy video. Watch out for that coming in Thanksgiving! Dragon Daihikyou was released only in Japan on September 27th, 1986. Along with that, it only appeared in Japan, as Dragon Ball didn't reach America until 1989, and that version wasn't even made by Funimation. Either way, Daihikyou probably wouldn't have been the best way to introduce Dragon Ball to the rest of the world. Dragon Daihikyou is a top-down shooter where you play as our boy Gok upon his Virgin Cloud as he smacks his stick around. Yes, I am 5. Goku rides on the Nimbus, using his power pole and firing only the Kamehameha, mowing down aliens from Galaxian, cocktail umbrellas, and killing Emperor Pilaf's army of clones. The game takes place during the Pilaf saga of Dragon Ball, as the crew searches for the Dragon Balls for the first time. But the game will never tell you that, as it has little to no text. Even if it did, I wouldn't even be able to read it. But in a top-down shooter, there's really no need for a story, as long as you're shooting up boys and having fun. Isn't that the whole point, right? Well, if you mean never hitting your enemies and them then blindsiding you, then yes! The only two attacks are the power pole and the laser of death, which doesn't even look like a laser, more like a fireball. You reach the end of the stage when you get to Pilaf's castle, blow it up, and take the Dragon Ball. While along the way, keeping your fat gut filled so that Kaka Carrot Cake doesn't forget how to swing a stick and stop firing Turtle Killer 9000. If you don't eat food, then you're going to have a hell of a time hitting anything. But even if you're filled, you're still going to end up dead. Your range is so poor and your movement's so limited that it's a better strategy just to try and get out of the way, rather than fight back. The enemies will target you and not give you a moment's rest as they chase you. Oh, and the blindsiding thing. Yeah, that will be the main cause of your deaths. Well, one good thing is that for the first ever Dragon Ball game, it's pretty faithful to the source material, as you can see many of the characters' faces stuck on the ground. Just their faces. Maybe Goku ripped off their heads and is just trying to play catch with them, finding the Dragon Ball so he can do it all over again. And that's not a joke either. The ending pretty much explains that, as when you collect all the Dragon Balls, Shenron appears and gives Oolong his panties, just like the show, and then the game starts over again. Back to the heads, when you pick up Yamcha, Puar, Bulma, it might be Chi-Chi, Oolong, and Turtle, all you'll get is points, and that's pretty much useless, as you'll die so fast you'll never even see it hit the 5th digit. All you get is 5 hits and 3 lives. After all those are gone, you go back to the beginning. Nothing gained, nothing learned, fucking squat. You can also run into the Ox King, and he'll let you auto-fire Kamehamehas for a couple of seconds, but it doesn't help much. You can also run into Master Roshi and do an impossible training mode. You and Roshi face off in a one-on-one fight where you can kick, punch, and Kamehameha, apparently. He is fucking impossible. His hit detection is completely off, and he doesn't stop moving. He doesn't even have a pattern. There are 3 levels, and he gets harder each time. And his second time it's glitched, so he only fires Kamehamehas. I couldn't even get past him. He was fucking impossible. If you can beat him, your death laser is powered up. But I'll never try again. Anyway, gameplay doesn't always make a game, at least according to IGN. And now onto the graphics. And from what I can say, it's not bad for the time. It has a lot of colors and isn't afraid to show it, getting most of the colors right. But Goku's gi is yellow and the Kamehameha is yellow and purple. Along with that, Bulma's, maybe Chi-Chi's, hair is black. Either way, it's passable for the time, but the music. The fucking music! It's goddamn ear-grating! It's a fine rendition of Mystical Adventure, but when hearing it play over and 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 over, it loses its charm. The only other song I heard, I couldn't recognize it, so if someone could please tell me, that'd be great, but it doesn't change how annoying it was. So what's the verdict? Bad. Pretty bad. But that's okay for now. It was the first game. And all it really had to do was show some Dragon Ball characters and be recognizable. Would I recommend playing it? No, probably not. Not unless you're a diehard fan that's played everything else. For what it was only okay, but I wouldn't go back to it. But that was just the first game. Maybe things will get better next time with... Dragon Ball Shenron no Nazo. Just end me now.